What's up YouTube, Dan's wargames, bringing you a Crusadia deck profile on a budget. Yes, that is right. So, you can now OTK your opponent for about 50 quid or less. How great does that sound? This deck is very, very fun to play. The biggest downside is its effects need to go off, which is why you play a lot of stuff like Call by the Grave and their own protection card, because they do need to go off in order for you to OTK your opponent. But you can do it with one card. One monster, this guy here, can kill your opponent. There is a 2-card combo, and there are other combos that you can play around with this deck, and you can jazz it up a little bit more. If you want to put more money into it, by all means you can do. It will just be your generic staple of hand traps, stuff like Ashes, impermanences, and then a bit of more of your extra deck monsters like Boral Sword, and of course Borrowload Dragon, stuff like that. Now, Borrowload Dragon will replace Topological Bomber Dragon in this deck once it gets reprinted, because I believe that the price of that card will drop. If you're lucky enough, you can pick it up cheap enough right now because of the reprint, but until we see the ratios of it, I can't guarantee that it will be budget, which is why I want to keep this deck at £50 or less for you guys out there to build and put together. So, without further ado, I'm going to take you through this deck profile, show you what they do, explain what they do, and then I'll hopefully have a test hand or a combo for you guys at the end. So, we go with Triple Maximus, the highest rarity card in the main deck for the Crusadias, and the highest rarity of the entire art type is Ultra right now, so that's very, very good. This card, they all share the same effect, that you special summon them to a zone in defense position a link monster points to, but this one's effect is once per turn, you can target one Crusadia link monster you control this turn. If it battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled. Also, other monsters you control cannot attack, doesn't really matter. It's all about boosting up the one card and going in for the kill. Triple Leonus, this card is once per turn, you can target one Crusadia link monster you control. If it attacks a defense position monster, this turn inflict piercing battle damage. So these are the two cards you want to end with, linked to your Ecomax, because then there's nothing standing in its way. Triple Recluser, this card is less important in the sense of going second for the OTK, but if this card is normal or special summoned to a zone and link monster points to, you target one Crusadia card you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them, only use the effect once per turn. Triple Draco, if it's normal or special summoned to a zone and link monster points to, you target one Crusadia card in your graveyard, accept itself and add it to your hand. Again, it contributes towards the OTK. Triple Arborea, again, this is the tuner, so it's very, very helpful once we get more support for the deck as well. There's possibilities of synchro plays as well if you want to mess around with those. So, once per turn, if a Crusader monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard instead. So, very, very cool. And then we've got 2 World Legacy Crown. Special summon this card from your hand to a defense position to a zone a link monster points to. You can only special summon it once per turn that way. Once per turn, when a monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck activates its effect. Quick effect, you can tribute this card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card was normal summoned or set, is tributed, you can add 1 World Legacy spell or trap from your deck. Don't really worry about that too much. And then one little touch in, I've got is World Legacy Lance. Now you've got to remember is your World Legacies can also be special summoned off of Vanguard, because it lets you special summon a Crusadia or World Legacy monster, so you can get a 3k or a 2k beater out from your deck, especially during the battle phase, can actually win you the game. So, Lance, the reason I'm playing Lance in this one is, monsters your opponent controls cannot attack World Legacy monsters you control except this one. You can only use the effect of the following World Legacy Lance once per turn. So during damage calculation, if a link monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can discard this card, that opponent's battling monster becomes 0 or loses 3k. Now obviously this is more as a defensive touch than an offensive touch, because with an offensive touch you should be able to beat over whatever your opponent's got. However, if you do have the field spell and lets this attack all your opponent's monsters, Lance can actually give you that little bit more that could win you the game if you haven't already done already, but that's a very, very slim chance. Its second ability is if a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, special summon 1 World Legacy token, Machine, Dark, level 1, attack 0, defense 0 to both players' field in defense position. So, that on top of that gives your opponent a 0 defense token, and you can get your Ecomax to do double piercing battle damage. What's not to like about Lance? Lance is actually very, very good and very, very powerful. And like I said, it's very easy to get it out of the deck with Vanguard. And then if you open it up, it's still a very, very nice kind of hand trap. Triple Effect Veiler, because we want to keep it a budget, people. Effect Veiler is probably the cheapest hand trap right now, and it's still a very, very powerful hand trap. Alternative, if you want to bump in, you've got Ghost Ogres, you've got Droll and Lockbirds, and you've even got DD Crows, which can put in a bit of work against Sky Strikers. Then of course we've got the Kaiju engine. Now I haven't perfected the Kaiju engine right now. I feel with this ratio 4 is enough. Now you definitely want the Gameciel and the Jizukuru, and then the other 2 is up for grabs to what you want to put into as your 3rd and 4th Kaiju. Now the reason you've got Kaijus is you want to be Kaiju in one of your opponent's monsters and putting it in front of Ecamax, because then Ecamax just gains the attack and then it gets to do double damage on top of a Kaiju. So it's very, very important on those. So that's it for the monster lineup. Quite straightforward and simple on those. Free of everything, very, very cheap. Gameciel is probably your highest cost in the main deck at about £5, but it's been reprinted as a secret, so if you can't get Gameciels, do not worry, you go for more Communguses or stuff like that. It doesn't really make too much of a difference with Gameciel right now, because you're gaining whatever you give them anyway. Then for the spells, we've got triple Call by the Graves and triple Crusadia Power. You want your effects to go off, so you have to have 3 and 3. Yes, this is only a once per turn, but I would rather have this in my hand than not have it when I need my effects to go off to kill my opponent on OTK. If I have the OTK on board but I don't have anything to protect my monster's effects not going off, then you're just asking for trouble. 2 Crusadia Revival. This is really, really good. So all Crusadia Link monsters gain 500 attack. Once per turn you target 1 Crusadia Link monster you control. This turn, even if this card leaves the field, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Also other monsters you control can't attack. It doesn't matter because what you point to with your Link monsters can't attack anyway. And it's searchable because it is a Crusader card with some of your other cards as well. If you want to play Terraforming to make it a bit more consistent, by all means do so, but you really don't need to. 2 Pinpoint Landing. You always special summon at least 1 per turn from your hand to the field. So Pinpoint Landing is very, very helpful and can also either bait out Ashes, or if your effects do get negated or stopped, this could actually change the course of the effect, because you can add this as a chain link so it protects one of your monsters, and then on top of that the draw could be what you might could possibly be what you wanted to search off the combo anyway, so it gives you a bit more consistency to play through. 2 World Legacy Succession and a Monster Reborn. Why not have 3 Monster Reborns in a deck if you can? World Legacy is obviously a hard once per turn, which is why you don't play 3 of it, but 2 of that and 1 Monster Reborn is more than enough. We've then got the 1 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, the 1 Rhoda for a bit of deck fin ability, and again can bait out Ashes if you absolutely have to, and can get you an additional monster should you need it. So let's not forget, if your effects do get negated, you can just link them up and push your plays further forward. So this is actually very, very useful. And then finally, the 1 Vanguard. You can bump Vanguard up if you want, but at 1 is more than enough because it is searchable with the deck again. Now on to the extra deck. Very, very budget and very, very straightforward. So we've got triple Ecamax. These are about £5 right now, so not expensive at all. And then, of course, for the other Crusadias, you've got triple Regelux. This is your link 2. And triple Magius. Now you don't have to play these at free, this is just frees because they're at budget and they're very, very easy to pull off, and the effects are very, very useful. For the other Link monsters, of course, we've got a small Nightmare package of Phoenix and Goblin. Goblin for the additional normal summon might actually help you out sometimes, again, trying to push out if your effects do get negated. It does give you more alternatives to play around. And then, of course, Phoenix is probably the better one between that and Cerberus. Then, of course, we've got the 1 Underclock Taker. Again, very, very helpful on this one. Again, get past your link effects and can then additionally reduce your opponent's monsters to push through for the OTK. Then we've got the Trispania, which is probably the most expensive in the extra deck, maybe about 8 to 10 quid. And then again, Topological Bomber, if it's going to get reprint, it's going to be even cheaper right now. This is just so we have a boss monster on board that can clear if we absolutely need to. Not that you have to worry about it, so you can take it out if you wish. And then Trispania, because this deck is so good at linking up, if your opponent's got a lot of back row, Trispania can catch them off guard and deal with those more so than risking yourself and putting everything into Ecamax. And then finally, we just got the 1 Baguska because it is probably one of the most stalled rank 4s in the game right now, and can be very, very useful because you get Baguska on the board, then you bring out one of any of your Crusadians, and then you can link both of these up to get rid of them and go into your Link monsters, so that can be very, very useful and unlock the extra deck for you should you need to while stalling your opponent out. However, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you liked it. I hope it's kept on a budget for you so it's nice and easy for you guys to make. Obviously, there are ways of improvement in this deck because if you want to put a bit more money into it, by all means, you can increase the value and consistency of the deck and then make it a bit more disruptive going if you have to go first or second. There is also, of course, an evoked version which can provide you with a bit more defense as well. Gives you a first turn play, but on top of that, if you get your mech bar to a zone this Ecamax points to, it gains the attack, but then you also have an additional negation should you need it. It's not a staple, but it does give you a different angle on this deck. Anyway, as a budget, I hope this has helped. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will do you a test stand video. A combo is quite straightforward. All you really need at the base minimum in your hand is Maximus and Arborea, but even then it can just be relatively decent Crusadia monsters, and then you move your play all the way up, as long as it doesn't get negated, to your Ecomax, and Ecomax will have Maximus pointed to it, and then you'll have the field spell as well for the OTK play and push. Alternatively, there is ways of getting both Maximus, or the ideal end board is Maximus and Leonis pointing to these, and then you've got double piercing damage, and you're going to be going in for game regardless. I will do test stands to show you how this deck operates and show you how consistent the OTK is, but without further ado, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time guys, as always, happy dueling. What's up YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button, and of course don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings and many more Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming up for you all year round, so don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always guys, happy dueling.